Hello. So welcome to part three. We are going to, I've already opened up ZBrush, and the first thing I want to do is I want to go to Load Tool. I'm going to find where I left off my basic body 2. I'll click Open, and I will click and drag once to put this on the screen, and then click Edit. I'll also click Lightbox to turn off this box here. So I've clicked and dragged, and I've clicked Edit. That will allow me to be able to actually sculpt on this. Now, let's say that I've opened this and I did not click Edit. At this point, I'll click again, and now it's added another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, etc. Or even just one, and then you finally click Edit. So one of these, it looks like this one is good. I could do some stuff to it, but it's buried in all this other stuff. Or you have them there and they're just stuck. You can't do anything with them. So in case that happens, you just go to Document, New Document. I do not want to save my changes. And I click and drag. And there I've added it. I've clicked and dragged only once. It's off screen. That's okay. I don't have to click and drag again. I'm simply, or click anything else. Just edit. Okay? And so if I want it fully on screen, like it's slightly off screen here, I can click Shift and Alt, and click on the background. Shift and Alt will center my object. If I remember, Alt pans. So if I hold it off screen and it's totally gone, Shift and Alt, and I click on the background, it'll come right back into the middle. And it'll look at the thing that I have selected here as my subtool. Okay, so that was our shortcuts. Let's go over them again. Clicking on the background, clicking and dragging on the background will rotate around our character. Holding Alt and clicking on the background, or if I'm using my tablet, I just place my pen nib on the tablet surface, and I'm holding Alt, that will pan. Now if I do that in pan, I'm holding Alt and clicking and dragging, and then I let go of Alt, but I keep my pen nib on the screen. Or if I'm using a mouse, I simply have the same click and drag. I've not unclicked, and I let go of Alt. That will zoom in and out. Zoom in and zoom out. That was Alt I'm holding, and then I let go of Alt while still keeping either my mouse button pressed and clicking and dragging, or keeping my nib to the surface. I think zoom in and out, isn't that also, I think plus and minus will also do it. Okay, but and it takes a little getting used to, but I just hold Alt and click and drag and then let go of Alt while still clicking and dragging, and that will allow me to zoom in. The more that you use this with a tablet and you get used to these shortcuts, the more faster and more efficient you will get at sculpting. Okay. So we're looking at sculpting in this particular episode. Last week, we used the move brush and we moved things around. We were sculpting, but at this point, we're going to do a bit more with sculpting that's beyond just using the move brush. I have now, by default, my standard brush here at the top left selected, and I can click my subtool. I'm going to switch. By default, the head is selected. And I'm going to go down to, say, my chest. We'll save the head for later. And so I remember that if I go along and I just draw on it, that adds. If I click Alt, that will take away. Alt does the opposite of our usual action. Going along it, adds to it, just drawing on it, holding Alt and going along, it will take away. It will dig in. Okay, so I'm forming my pecs right there. And I have my top of my abs here that I'll sculpt in. And let's see, I'm just taking away. I'm going along here, and let's see, right here I can draw my there we go. I so that I have my obliques coming down here, and I'm simply drawing them in. My obliques go along my ribs and my pecs. And I'm just kind of whittling away using Alt. I'm taking away, sculpting in to my sculpt. And as I'm drawing here, you see that I'll go like this. I'll click on the background and I'll move it because I'm also looking at, look at this end. While I'm doing this side, I have my symmetry on. Excuse me. I have my symmetry on. Um, and I can see my silhouette, the contour, the silhouette, the edge on the other side. Remember, symmetry was X to turn it on or off. We want it on. Okay, so I can see here like, oh, I want this to kind of I'm wanting this to sink in. See, I'm looking, and then remember too that I have shift. Shift will smooth. So, you know, as I'm doing this, and I'm doing it kind of rough, right? And maybe I'm making mistakes, and that's okay because if I use shift, I can smooth over it. So it's not really a mistake. It's roughing it in and then smoothing it out, right? So this is rough here, and I can smooth it. Let's look at the back. What am I looking at for the back? So I tend to look at anatomy drawings or illustrations. There are some good ones out there. I think I recommended a book. There is no required book, but you can find, let's see here, this book. This is available like all over online, typically for free. You'll find a PDF for it. I think it's 3D Sculpting Anatomy. Is that the name of it? Anatomy for Sculptors, Understanding the Human Figure. Okay, and I found one. I found a copy of it. It's uploading or loading up. vviewy.net. We'll see how well this goes and see if it uploads properly. But I know that I have my traps available here. The muscles here of my on my uh, scapula. Let's see if these load up. That's taking a while to load up, but let's see. Muscles of the scapula. Here we go. You can get a good look at them here. And I can see that. And remember, S will change my draw size. Now you don't have to get like totally accurate anatomy or anything. And S will change my size, and I'll do a smooth. But we're at least just getting some sort of basic shape. And remember, as we talked about before, we can always switch here from standard to M. M is our shortcut here to focus on our M things, and the move topological brush is always good to move stuff around, change our anatomy where it is, help shape it. All right. Okay. So I've done this and I've shaped this in a way. Now let's take a look at, and it's pretty, it's pretty good. I can go down with the torso and the pelvis, and I will do that. But let's start looking at these areas like in the arm. Let's go ahead and select the shoulders. And you see, I'll switch back to standard. I'm clicking here for my brush, and you see here I have where it says quick pick along the top. All of these are some brushes that I've used previously. Move topological. Look at this clay buildup. Let's try that. Clay buildup. I'll use S to change my brush size. And clay buildup starts to add kind of a muscular look to it. Right? Switch back to, that's something handy to use. I'll switch back to standard. And I'm going to go to my upper arms here. And I'm going to click S and make a split right here, my bicep. Right here. Okay. I'll make another one here. And I want to make another one here going to the back of my tricep. And you notice as I'm doing this here, I mean, it's pretty good. It's the tricep. Okay. I'm doing Alt right here to kind of sculpt it. So it comes in. It's pretty good, but it's limited, and it's limited in what it's able to do, both here and the shoulder. And why is that? If I do a Shift F, you can see our topology that we're dealing with. And it's because we're dealing with a fairly low topology that's made from these low poly spheres. And so as I'm sculpting it, it doesn't really sculpt like clay, does it? It sculpts more like a bunch of cards. Okay. So there's a few things we can do to increase our topology. We can do that. We can go here to geometry. I've expanded this geometry section, right? And right here I can click divide in the geometry section, divide. And all of a sudden we've added some topology, right? Now it's a little bit smoother, and I can add to this. It seems to sculpt a little easier, right? Okay. And let me show you one other thing. Take away right here. Let me show you something else. This is jumping a little bit ahead. If I go to Z remesher, right down here in geometry, still in geometry section, I can span this area that says Z remesher. And I can click this button that says same. And I click Z remesher. We're going to click it while we're seeing the topology here. I'll click Z remesher. Actually, let me click half. Z remesher. Let's watch what happens. Look at that. Look at that, what it did. So you see what it did here. It added topology, but it formed it it made a flow to it that goes to where we have the split going in. It has edge loops going around there. Where it's added, also it adds edge loops. So we can use this. Like if I start from something, I can make something like really adding and then totally do an alt and taking away, digging in. I can even do like, let's just add this. This isn't very good, but watch it and see it's all like crumbly and polygony. If I click Z remesher again, look at that. It added these lines going right in there. So it creates an edge where we want to crack. Now I don't necessarily need this at the moment, but it's something cool that we can use to our advantage. I don't need that really right now. Anyway, so that's Z remesher. We'll be using that a lot more as we go forward. For now, we're looking at just adding some stuff. Now, let's say if I wanted to add more detail, like a sharper line, instead of using S to make standard super small, which I can do, I can keep it up at this big size. I can switch this brush. I'll click brush, and I will click the D on my keyboard. And I can see the DAM standard. I'll go ahead and click that. And I'm going to switch my subtool, expanded my subtool menu to go to my lower arms. And with the DAM standard, you see that I can sculpt along and I can make this small. This adds detail, like very fine cuts. Turn off Shift F so I can add, the lines that indicate where my musculature is. And so here I'm just adding some detail in here. Okay. And again, I can go to my, if I do Shift F, I can see that this only takes me so far. If I wanted to, I can go to geometry, and I can click, same, and click Z remesher. And we can see it change it. It changes to the shape and to the flow that will make it easier for us to sculpt. I'll switch again here to my standard brush. Let's add some here. And I do not have to have a really dramatically atomically correct human. You are allowed to do any uh, sculpt that you want if you want to do a cartoony character. But this will help you. Using ZRemesher will still help in doing your cartoony character. I'm going to switch my subtool to, let's see, shoulders. And again, I'll use my DAM standard. I'm choosing it from the top row here, the quick pick, because I'm able to just making a split here in the muscles of the shoulder. And again, I can simply click geometry. Let's see, I'll keep this the same ZRemesher, and it changes that flow. And, doing that changes it the way I want it to. I can just simply uh, do shift to smooth it out. I don't have to have all this detail in here. Okay, Shift F, I'll turn that off so you don't have to see the topology. And again, I can make this big. I can click shift and just keep it smooth. I don't have to have all this musculature. So this also works back with, let's look at hand. Let's see, S, click right here for my palm, and then righty. Oops. Okay. All right, we're going to look at making a finger now that I have the hands. Way that I typically like to, no, you know what? We'll come back to fingers. Let's just do stomach. All right, and I'm going to switch to move topological. I did S to make my brush size kind of big, and then I'm looking at my abs from my side view to where, okay, this top goes out like this, comes up, goes here, got like a little pooch that comes out the bottom. And let's go ahead and switch to standard. And we'll do like adding some here, adding some here. We're just adding a little bit to, okay. Go back to DAM. From this point, I can again go to where it says geometry, Z remeasure. I'll put that on half, Z remeasure, and we'll see. Oh, look at that. Shift F. Look at how it changed that topology. Isn't that nice? Shift F. So now it's made it form the way we want it to, so that it works the way we want it to. It'll sculpt the way we want it to. Let's go ahead and switch to standard. Add some bumps in here. Leaks put a little on the bottom there. Okay. Okay, so did that. I'll move right on down to subtool and the pelvis. Oops. Okay, and then I can move up to see the neck. And see the head. Head I want to smooth out a lot. And the thing to consider with the head is, especially in all of this, is when we're animating, etc. We're looking at doing certain areas such as switching to the DAM standard. I'm looking at the, say, the eyes and the nose. So I'm going to go ahead and make my DAM standard and make this real small and go Alt and, oops, sorry, not Alt. With DAM standard, I don't need to do Alt. Actually, let's do this. Let's look at masking because I'm wanting to add the eye sockets and the mouth socket. So if I do a mask, I can do Control, hold Control, and I'm going to draw here for the eye and then another one for the mouth. Actually, let's hold Control and erase, but those are how to do a mask. Let's do geometry, click divide a couple of times. There you go. I clicked it a few times here. So now you see where it says SDiv 3. Okay. Right now I'm going to do Control and add a mask here. Okay. Then I'll hold Control and I'll click once on the background. You see that reverses my mask. So everything else is dark and masked while the light areas are not. If I click move mode, and I can move this back here. There we go. Go back to draw, and I'll go ahead and click Control, and I'll fill the eye sockets. I don't need them to move, but I'm going to move the socket for the mouth back further. I'll click Move again, that back. All right. Add an into. Click draw. Hold control and I'll click and drag on the background. That will release my mask. All right. I'm going to go back to my standard brush. I will click around here and I'll add a thing for the lips. I'll add a thing for the eyelids. I'm going to click Alt underneath the eyelids and Alt digging around the lips, and then I'm going to click here to add a nose, and everything here is going to come out lumpy and weird looking. Don't worry, we're trusting in the process. I'm going to click Alt to make some nostrils. To make this a little bigger here, add a brow ridge, add cheeks, add I'm going to make this small. I'm going to add ear. Make sure that goes from halfway here where the eye is down to the bottom of the nose, adding an ear. Okay. And this looks awful, right? Alt will dig in here. Absolutely horrible. All the way around. Let's see, I want to do an Alt around the nose. Let's do that with DAM standard. I'll go DAM standard, go around the nose. I'm adding what are called edge loops. So I've got one here around the mouth and one here around the eyes. And all I care about here is I'm creating topology. Make another one around here, like a luchador mask around the bridge of the nose. Brow ridge, edge of the ear. Here. All right, so there we go. Now, if I go to expand this area where it says Z remesher, I put this on half, and I'll click Shift F, we'll see it, and I will click Z remesher, set to half. Okay, I'll click it one more time. I'll click it again. Why not? Reducing down my topology. You can start to see that it's forming around these areas where I've made these edges. Okay, Shift F. I'll go back to my standard brush Click S, and I'm going to do a smooth here. Smoothing these edges. But it's now formed into oops, I don't want to do it too much there, but I do want to do move topological. And I got kind of a big wide head here. And I'm moving it. I'm moving these areas like here. Move this back here. Just moving, looking for my side view. You see this head? I moved it here to the side view. So I'm actually on the side view. I'm moving all these areas from the side as I recognize them. Same here. Move this up, move this up, this out. Let's turn the front here. Okay. So I've moved these into place into where they should belong. And I'm rotating. I'm rotating around. And let's look at big movements here. What needs to be? I'm looking at this silhouette, the contour. Okay. And S, make this small, and I'll bring these down. Bigger. Okay. So now I'm going to switch from move to standard. And I'm going to click and drag here on the lips, those that come out a little bit more. Let's see, Alt here in the middle, add this particular area, Alt right in here. and smooth. See, I'm pulling out top of the ear and the lobe and this portion. And I'll use the DAM standard to dig in around the edge. Go. Smoothing out this area outside of the ear. Okay. Smoothing out here in the upper lip. And then move topological. Turn it to the side. Let's see. So I'm just moving. And then I get some of these areas that are thin, right? The lips are looking a little thin. So I can click here for brush again, and I can go to eye. And I'm looking for inflate. There we go, inflate. I can do that right here, and I can go right here to the lip and blow that up a little bit. To the tip of the nose. And I can do it to the eyelids if I want to. Back to move. And that's it. All right, so we've done most of the head. If yours doesn't look like mine, that is okay. Okay, I for inflate. Oops. No. Moving it. Let's see. This takes a lot of time. Look around the face. I think I spent more time than I really wanted to on it. Um, so I'll go ahead and go to rest of the body, down to legs, and again, I'll start off with the DAM standard, DAM standard there. I'm going here. See, I'm sculpting right along it. And again, I want to click geometry. I'll go ahead and click. I'll keep it the same. I'll click Z remesher. You can see the geometry change. I'll click the subtool lower legs. Dig in here on this part. I'm drawing the front of the shin. And let's go ahead and click geometry. Keep it the same, Z remesher. Okay. We could do the same for the feet. All right. So I suppose next would be getting into the fingers. Let's see, we might end up doing that. Let's see. I'll come back.